As you view this, a version of yourself exists in a parallel timeline that has already accomplished all you desire. They are not hoping for it, wishing for it, or working toward it. They are living it. And here's something most folks don't grasp. That version of yourself is reaching across dimensions and transmitting signals. Breadcrumbs, moments of recognition like this very video, landing in your awareness at a time that goes on. The time is broken. You see, consciousness does not exist in linear time as we have been taught. Your awareness, profound wisdom, and intuitive self. It functions in what quantum physicists refer to as the eternal now, in which all possible outcomes exist at the same time. Right now, imagine your future self, the one who figured it out, broke through, and walked into complete alignment. They are actively shaping your present world. Think about it. How often have you had a moment when you knew something was meant for you? Where did a book fall from a shelf? A discussion occurred at the perfect time, or a piece of material came in your stream that seemed to be speaking straight to your soul. That is not the algorithm. That is not luck. That's your future self functioning from a state of quantum coherence, causing synchronicities to lead you back to who you are becoming. But here's where everything changes. Most people encounter these situations and dismiss them. They reason them away, call it a coincidence, or worse. They acknowledge the sign, but do nothing about it. They return to operating within their current identities, limits, and talk about what is achievable. Your future self is not simply sending you messages. They are presenting you the frequency, or electromagnetic signature, of reality. You're on your way, and the time has come for you to embody that frequency before the external circumstances catch up. That's when you condense the chronology between your current location and your destination. Allow me to share with you something that altered everything for me. I was sitting in meditation one morning, feeling totally stuck in my life. The patterns, constraints, and tale all remain the same, playing on loop. I suddenly got a great awareness, not a thinking, but a molecular realization that there existed a version of myself who had already overcome all of this. I could sense them, their presence and calm certainty. In that moment, I recognized that transition isn't about becoming someone else. It's about remembering who you are in your highest timeline and committing to embodying that energy signature. Now, your future self is not someone you must become. They are who you are. When you remove everything that isn't really you, the quantum field responds to identity rather than desire. It responds to who you are rather than what you want. When you begin to operate from the energy of your actualized self, speaking as they would speak, moving as they would move, and making decisions at their level of consciousness, reality has no choice but to restructure itself around that frequency. This is why affirmations alone are ineffective for the majority of people. They're attempting to persuade their current self to believe something different, yet they're still operating on the same energetic basis. Your future self does not need to be convinced of anything. They are aware that they embody. They just are. So, how do you initiate contact? How can you receive the transmission more clearly? First, you must recognize that your future self is coherent. Their ideas, feelings, and actions are consistent. They are not conflicted about what they desire and what they believe is feasible. They have dismantled that duality. When you are in a condition of internal struggle, wanting something yet believing you cannot have it, desiring change yet remaining in familiar patterns, you are generating static in the quantum communication channel. The more precise your internal signal, the greater the bond. This requires being totally honest about where you're living in contradiction. Where are you stating you desire one thing while actively selecting another? Where are you playing small to keep comfortable? Where are you allowing fear to drive decisions that your expanded self would never make? Your future self operates out of love, not fear. They make choices based on expansion, not contraction. They trust the universe's intelligence because they have learned to trust their own. Every time you choose love over fear, expansion over contraction, or trust over control, you become more aware of their frequency. Here is something profound. This is a moment your future self will remember. They recall viewing this video. I can feel the recognition, sensing a possibility. They recall the exact moment you chose to stop limiting yourself and start living up to your full potential. That moment is occurring right now. However, they also remember the decision you made after seeing this. Did you dismiss it as too good to be true and return to your old habits? Or did you see this as the cosmic nudge you needed and take action? Because here's the deal. This is where most folks lose the thread. Receiving the message is only half of the equation. The other half embodies it. Your future self can send you all the signs in the world, but you must meet them halfway by taking inspired action based on your new identity. This does not require you to completely restructure your life. Tomorrow, it means you start making tiny decisions based on the energy of who you are becoming. It means that when you wake up in the morning, you think about how your actualized self will move through the day. And then you respect that understanding, even if it is strange. Maybe your actualized self stands up in that meeting rather than being silent. Perhaps they will invest in that course, schedule that trip, have an unpleasant talk. Perhaps they simply give themselves the love and respect they know they deserve. Small, consistent choices made from an expanded identity resulting quantum leaps in reality. Your future self lives in a reality where everything you want is natural, effortless, and anticipated. They aren't attempting to manifest anything because they recognize that they are the manifestation.
They've recognized that the exterior world is always mirroring the interior frequency. Change the frequency, change the reality. This explains why appreciation is so strong. Not thankfulness for what you have, but gratitude for what you already have. Within the quantum field, your future self feels appreciative rather than hopeful. They are confident, not wishful, when you can elicit the same emotions. Now, you are literally bringing that reality into your present moment experience. Take a moment now to feel into that version of yourself. Do not think about it, feel it. How do they carry themselves? What energy do they use to move? How do they talk to themselves? What does their internal dialogue sound like? That is not fantasy. That's real-time quantum communication. That's your GPS coordinates for where you're going.
And now is when things become really fascinating. The more you embody your future self's energy, the more you see how reality responds. Opportunities appear, the appropriate folks turn up, resources become available. It's not like the cosmos is suddenly paying attention to you. It's that you're now on the same wavelength as your desires. Your future self does not hustle, force, or push. They attract by aligning. They recognize that everything they require is already on its way to them, and their only responsibility is to remain out of the way, stay open and responsive. When you're continually worried about how things will turn out, you're impeding the very flow you're attempting to generate. This is why patience is not passive, waiting. Patience is active faith. It's trusting the timing of your life while remaining true to who you're becoming. Your future self understands that divine timing is not about delay, it's all about preparation. Every instant between now and your complete manifestation prepares you to hold, sustain, and relish what's ahead. Now, I'd like you to pause for a moment and comment below with this exact wording. I'm receiving the transmission. Do not type it casually. Feel it. Recognize that by commenting on those statements, you are consciously declaring to the quantum field that you are ready to move into greater alignment with your future self. You're indicating that you're not just watching for enjoyment. You've come for transformation. Declaring your preparation sends a clear signal to your future self, allowing you to work more effectively. It's similar to adjusting the frequency on a radio. So, go ahead, pause this video and leave a comment. I'm receiving the transmission, because this is what your future self wants you to know. You are not behind. You aren't late. You have not missed your opportunity. Everything in your life has led up to this moment of revelation. Each task has increased your capacity. Every failure has sharpened your vision. Every moment spent feeling adrift has fueled your longing for genuine alignment. Your future self recognizes the perfection in your trip that you cannot see from your current position. They recognize that even your perceived mistakes were actually course corrections that helped you reach your full potential. This is why they aren't concerned about you. They are excited for you. They know you're going to recall something spectacular. But remembering is not enough. Integration is everything. Your future self is not only aware of these facts, they live them. They've combined spiritual insight with practical activity. They've learned to manage the physical world from multiple perspectives. They make intuitive conclusions and then follow up with inspired action. This means that as you start to receive these broadcasts more clearly, you must be willing to act on the information you receive. Even if it doesn't seem rational to you right now, your future self has a lot broader view than your current self does. Sometimes the step they're driving you toward appears sideways or backwards from your current perspective. Still, they can see the entire journey, while you can just see the next step. Learning to trust this counsel teaches you to trust yourself on a deeper level than you've ever experienced before. It's acknowledging that you have insight far beyond what your conditioned mind can understand. Your future self is inseparable from you. They are acting from a position of complete memory. I'm wondering about the remarks below. Share an experience in which you felt your future self guiding you. Maybe it was an instinctive nudge that resulted in something beautiful, or a decision that defied logic yet felt completely correct. What happened when you placed your trust in that deeper knowing? Here's something beautiful. When you genuinely embody this idea, you become a transmission to others. Your energy, presence, and style of moving through the world begin to evoke the same memories in others. You become a walking reminder that transformation is possible, that there is another way to live, and that we are all more powerful than we have been taught. If what I'm saying strikes a chord in your system, if you feel something stirring that recognizes these words as accurate, I invite you to subscribe not only to this channel, but to this frequency. Subscribe to Living from Your Best Self. Subscribe to Relying on Your Own Intelligence. Becoming. Subscribe to Be Part of a Community that Understands. We are all here to recall who we truly are. When you click the subscribe button, you commit to staying connected to this discourse and receiving the messages that will lead you back to yourself. Because this is more than just viewing videos. This is about being a member of a collective awakening, a community of beings who choose to realize their full potential. Your future self lives in a reality where this level of consciousness is typical, and people act from love rather than fear. Where collaboration replaces competitiveness, where everyone recognizes that we must rise together or not at all. Every person who recalls their true nature and aligns with their highest self helps to make that reality more available to all.
This is why your personal growth is so significant. You are not only changing your own life, you're expanding the morphic field of potential for our entire species. Your future self dwells in a time frame in which enough people have achieved this transformation to establish a new baseline for human consciousness. But it begins with you. It starts with this moment. It starts with your readiness to absorb the transmission and then embrace it. So, what would happen in your life if you fully trusted your future self to guide you?
What would you do differently If you knew that every intuitive push, moment of realization, and synchronicity was a clue directing you to your highest timeline? What if you stopped seeking external approval and instead listened to the permission your future self has already granted you? What if you stopped looking for proof and instead became the proof? What if you recognize that just seeing this film, feeling this recognition, sensing this possibility, is enough to affirm that something greater is happening in your life? Your future self recalls the precise moment they stopped doubting and began trusting. They recall when they realized they didn't have to sort everything out. They only needed to follow the guidance when it appeared. They remember realizing that the way to their dreams was about aligning and allowing, not forcing or manipulating. That moment is available to you right now, not someday when you feel more prepared, not tomorrow when you have greater clarity. They remember realizing, not next week when you already have your life in order. This is the moment your future self will remember as the tipping point. The quantum field is constantly responding to your dominating frequency. If you are operating from a place of lack, limitation, and fear, this will be reflected back to you. However, the moment you begin to embody plenty, opportunity, and love, even before you see external evidence, reality begins to transform around you. Your future self understands something significant. They are not a result of their surroundings. They are the source of them. They've learned to create their internal state independently of external conditions, and then observe how the external world reorganizes to meet their internal rhythm. This is what it means to be a mindful creator. This is what it means to claim your power as an endless entity, having human experiences. Your future self is not hoping that the cosmos will grant them their wishes. They understand that they are an extension of the same intelligence that created galaxies and grows flowers. They've remembered that they're the cosmos manifesting itself in human form. And so are you right now. Not someday when you've progressed, learned more, or grown spiritually. Right now, you are the infinite intelligence that your future self recalled yourselves to be. The only distinction is the extent to which that fact is absorbed into your daily life. This integration is achieved through deliberate choosing, moment to moment, decision by decision. Whenever you choose love above fear, every time you decide to expand rather than contract, every time you choose to trust life's intelligence rather than try to control it, you align your frequency with that of your future self. And here's the amazing thing. As you get more coherent, communication becomes clearer. The guidance grows stronger, and the synchronicities become clearer. It's like if you were listening to a radio station that was constantly broadcasting. You only needed to change your frequency to receive it. Clearly, your future self wants you to know that you have already received all you require, the ideas that inspire you, and the chances that arise. People who turn up in your life, these are not random events. They are the cosmos responding to the unmistakable signal of your growing consciousness. But you must be willing to receive. You must be prepared to say yes to possibilities that your current self may find daunting. You must be willing to believe in a direction that may not always make rational sense. You must be willing to act with the energy of who you are becoming. You're not the same person you once were. This is where faith gets practical. Faith is not blind. Belief. Faith is responding from a knowing that goes beyond what your current circumstances indicate is feasible. Your future self operates on this level of faith because they have witnessed how reality responds. When you connect with your most profound truth, they've realized that the cosmos isn't trying to see if you're worthy. The universe is continually presenting you with experiences that correspond to your energetic frequency. Raise your frequency, and new experiences become available. It is not about earning or deserving. It's all about alignment. And alignment is not something you attain once and keep forever. It is a moment-by-moment decision to return to your center. Remember who you are. To choose love rather than fear. Your future self has mastered the ability to quickly return to alignment after being knocked off course. They've realized that wobbling is part of the process, not a sign of failure. This is why self-compassion is so important in our process. Your future self treats oneself with great kindness and tolerance, knowing that judgment and criticism generate static in the quantum communication system. The more loving you are to yourself, the more precise the channel becomes. Right now, your future self is sending you the energy of complete acceptance for where you are on your journey. They aren't disappointed with your growth. They are not dissatisfied with your speed. They see perfection in your timing because they see the broader picture that you don't. They want you to understand that every event you've had has helped prepare you for this moment of awakening. Every relationship, employment, difficulty, and victory has been woven together to create the ideal conditions for your recollection. What we've learned today only scratches the surface of a far deeper quantum system of awareness mastery. Suppose these broadcasts are causing a resonance in your field. In that case, there is a comprehensive framework of 9 master frequencies that can turn you from a seeker to someone who is simply in my complete guide beyond the frequencies. I will lead you through each escalating current, from breaking out of survival static to being the broadcast itself. The URL is included in the pinned comment below. Your future self wants you to understand that the shift does not have to be tough. The difficulties you've been having are not due to the difficulty of the path. It's because you've been swimming against the current, rather than learning to swim with it. Everything gets easier once you stop rejecting your own wisdom and start cooperating with it. This is not to say that obstacles go away. It means that you form a whole new relationship with barriers. Instead of seeing them as obstacles, you learn to see them as opportunities to grow. Instead of questioning why this is happening to me, start asking how it is benefiting my best progress. Your future self has learned to interpret each event as feedback from the cosmos. When everything goes well, it means you're on the same page. When things feel challenging, it is a sign that something in your approach has to change. It's all about guidance. Everything is intended to help you awaken. If this information is causing a shift in your awareness, please click the like button and subscribe to stay connected to this frequency of transformation. Let us proceed. But let's delve deeper into this quantum communication system, since understanding how it works fundamentally alters how you navigate your reality. Your future self exists in what quantum scientists refer to as a collapsed wave function, which means they have shifted from potential to actuality. But here's the interesting part. That collapsed state exerts a gravitational attraction on all potential versions of you that exist in the quantum field. Consider this. Imagine your existence as a limitless ocean of possibilities, waves, and your future self has become a stable island in the ocean. Every decision you make either brings you closer to the island or takes you further away. However, because that island is a fixed point in the quantum field, it is constantly emitting signals, energetic lighthouse beams that you may learn to navigate with. These messages are not necessarily expressed as thoughts or ideas. They can manifest as abrupt realizations, bodily experiences, or emotional transformations that appear out of nowhere. Your future self has learned to speak via the language of energy, because energy defies the constraints of linear time. When you suddenly feel a rush of excitement about an opportunity that doesn't make rational sense, it could be your future self announcing that this path goes to the island of your realized potential. However, Here is where most people become confused. They believe that following their future self's advice will make things go smoothly. That isn't how it works. Your future self is directing you towards your maximum level of progress. This is not your most excellent comfort. Sometimes the journey to your actualized self needs you to face your anxieties, let go of attachments, and expand beyond your previous bounds. Your future self recalls every moment of discomfort they encountered along the way, and they feel tremendous empathy for what you're going through. But they also understand that each struggle you face is precisely tuned to help you develop the skills you'll need to maintain the reality they're living in. They're not sending you problems. They assist you in recognizing the existing prospects for advancement in your experience. This is why resistance causes agony, but acceptance leads to transformation. When you resist what is happening in your life, you are ultimately debating with the wisdom of your own evolution. Your future self never fought their maturation process. They learned to accept that every event was helping them grow, even when they couldn't see it. Now, here's something meaningful. Your future self is in a condition of what we could call quantum gratitude. They aren't thankful for what happened to them. They are grateful for what has occurred to them. They understand that they were never a victim of their circumstances, but rather a partner in their own development. This adjustment in viewpoint changes everything about how you approach your current issues. When you look at your life from this quantum perspective, you begin to notice patterns that were previously invisible. You realize that what you believed were random events were actually finely choreographed experiences designed to guide you to your highest timeline. The job that didn't work out was not a rejection, it was a redirection. The relationship that ended was not a failure, it was finished. That financial loss was not punishment, it was a recalibration. Your future self finds excellence in your root because they are looking at it from the end. It's like seeing a movie for the second time. Everything that seems random or incomprehensible the first time around suddenly makes perfect sense, since you understand how it all fits together. Your future self is seeing your movie for the second time, and they want you to believe the plot even when you don't understand where it's going. However, trust in this environment is not passive. It is not about sitting back and waiting for something to happen to you. Trust is actively contributing to your own progress by accepting opportunities that align with your highest self. Even when things seem dangerous or unknown, your future self has learned to distinguish between fear that keeps you safe and fear that keeps you tiny. They have learned the ability to differentiate between intuition warning and ego resistance. This discernment is critical because, as you begin to receive stronger transmissions from your future self, you will frequently feel called to make choices that your current identity considers dangerous. Your ego mind, which has been programmed to keep you safe and predictable, will generate all kinds of logical-sounding reasons why you should not follow that guidance. It will advise you to be practical, pragmatic, and to avoid getting your hopes up. However, your future self makes radically different assumptions about what is conceivable. They've demonstrated to themselves that the cosmos is inherently supportive, that there is always a route forward, and that everything they require is accessible when they need it. They've learned to make decisions based on abundance rather than scarcity, opportunity rather than constraint, and love instead of fear. Here's a wonderful paradox. The more you behave with the energy of your future self, the more you become their reality. It's not as if you're pretending to be someone else. You are now being who you have always been, under the layers of conditioning and constraint. Your future self is not the person you become. They are who you are. Mystics refer to the process of discarding what isn't true as the black night of the soul. However, your future self wants you to realize that this dissolution is neither a punishment nor an indication that you are doing something wrong. It is a natural process of transformation. just like a caterpillar must dissolve in its chrysalis before emerging as a butterfly. Aspects of your previous identity must be shed before your true self may emerge. Your future self empathizes with the breakdown process because they understand how unsettling it may be. There were times when they questioned everything, when nothing made sense, and they felt absolutely lost. But they now realize they were not losing themselves. They were losing the fake self, which had never been real in the first place. This is why spiritual traditions frequently discuss dying before you die. It is not about bodily death. It is about the demise of your false ego identity. Your future self has gone through the death and resurrection process, and they want you to know that what emerges on the other side is far more lovely than what is left behind. But the dissolution does not occur all at once. It happens in layers, cycles, and spirals, with increasing depth. Each time you choose to align with your highest self rather than your conditioned patterns, another layer of false identity is removed. Each time you trust your intuition over your logical thinking, another layer of limitation is removed. Each time you behave out of love rather than fear, another aspect of your actual self emerges. Well, your future self dwells in a reality where this process is complete, and they can live from their true nature without the intervention of artificial conditions. However, they want you to recognize that the path to that condition is equally sacred as the destination. Every moment of progress, breakthrough, and recognition is valuable, since it is all part of your awakening. And your enlightenment is not solely personal. Your future self lives in a reality where they comprehend how individual and communal awareness are inextricably linked. As you increase your own frequency, you help to raise the frequency of the entire human collective. As you embody more love, wisdom, and authenticity, you make it easy for others to discover the same traits inside themselves. This is why your transformation is so vital beyond your own life. You're not only healing yourself, you are repairing the cycle of limitation that goes through your family, society, and culture. You are not simply awakening yourself, you're contributing to the awakening of our entire species. This understanding is carried by your future self with great duty and honor. They understand that every person who chooses to live up to their full potential creates a morphic resonance which encourages others to do the same. It's like clearing a route through the jungle. The first person to travel along that path must clear all of the obstacles. Still, everyone who follows can walk more easily because the way has been prepared. Your future self is a member of a community of awakened people who are preparing for humanity's evolutionary leap. They are not separate from others who have traveled this path. They are part of a vast network of consciousness that spans both time and space. When you begin to embody the energy of your future self, you join this collective and become a member of the evolutionary movement. However, this is not about perfection or spiritual superiority. Your future self has realized that true spiritual maturity is accepting your humanity rather than overcoming it. They've learned to be exceedingly empathetic toward their own process, and through the process of others. They recognize that everyone is precisely where they should be on their own journey, and they allow all beings to awaken at their own rate. This compassion extends to your present self. Your future self looks at you with love, acceptance, and gratitude for your willingness to evolve. They remember every battle you're going through, every doubt you're having, every instance of perplexity or dissatisfaction. They want you to know that everything is not just okay, but vital. Everything is part of the proper blossoming of your consciousness. As you deepen your grasp of these concepts, you may sense a shift in your relationship with time. Your future self does not perceive time as a straight passage from past to future. They exist in the eternal present moment, which encompasses all of time. This is why they can speak with you despite the apparent time distance, because there is none from their perspective. There is only the everlasting now, which includes all possibilities. When you learn to reach this eternal now on your own, everything changes in how you react to your goals and desires. Instead of feeling like you're working on something in the future, you realize you're uncovering something that already exists in the present. Your dreams are not waiting for you to reach them. They're here, now, waiting for you to match their frequency. This alteration of perception alters the entire manifestation process. Instead of attempting to make something happen, you begin by allowing something to develop. Instead of forcing your way to your goals, you begin by removing the barriers that hinder them from expressing themselves freely. Instead of exerting and struggling, you start to surrender and receive. This alteration of perception alters the entire manifestation process. Instead of attempting to make something happen, you begin by allowing something to develop. Instead of forcing your way to your goals, you start by removing the barriers that hinder them from expressing themselves freely. Instead of exerting and struggling, you begin to surrender and receive. Your future self has mastered the practice of conscious receiving. They've discovered that the cosmos is constantly providing them with precisely what they require. However, they must first gain the ability to identify and accept it. This ability is not developed by thought or analysis. It is something you build by experiencing, sensing, and trusting the subtle energetic information that is constantly flowing around you. This is why meditation, contemplation, and other mindfulness techniques are essential to this job. They assist you in improving your sensitivity to the quantum field. Your future self can feel the subtle energies and vibrations that carry information about your highest path. They live in perpetual meditation, not sitting cross-legged with eyes closed, but in a state of open, receptive awareness that allows them to receive instruction in every instant. They've learned to assess the energy of situations before connecting with them cognitively. They can sense whether an opportunity is associated with their highest path, even before they know what it is. Logically, they've evolved what you might call quantum intuition, or the ability to detect the energetic potential of several options and choose the path that seems the most expansive and vibrant. However, in order to achieve this level of sensitivity, you must slow down, become silent, and create space between stimuli and response. In our culture of non-stop noise and perpetual bustle, this can seem counterintuitive. Your conditioned mind may convince you that slowing down implies falling behind, that contemplation is a luxury you cannot afford. Still, your future self understands that cultivating this inner calm is the most practical thing you can do, because all truly inspired action arises from it. When you move from this centered position, you accomplish more with less effort, because you are in sync with the flow of global intellect rather than struggling against it. You make faster decisions because you don't second-guess your gut. Using mental analysis, you attract opportunities more easily because you operate at a precise, coherent frequency that the universe can respond to. Your future self wants you to know that achieving this coherence isn't about perfection. It's about being consistent. It's about returning to your center time and again. I don't always stay there. They've discovered that consciousness is like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it gets. Every time you choose present over distraction, you achieve alignment. Overreaction. Choose love above fear. You are improving your ability to live from your highest self. What is one tiny choice you could make today to better match the energy of your future self? Leave your intention in the comments. Sometimes speaking our commitments into the field strengthens their impact. Here's something beautiful. As your connection to your future self strengthens, you will begin to receive communications not only from them, but from all versions of yourself across all timelines. You begin to get access to what quantum scientists refer to as the Akashic field, which contains the wisdom of all possible selves. Sometimes you get creative inspiration that feels like it's coming from a version of yourself who has become an artist. Sometimes you can access problem-solving abilities that appear to be coming from a version of yourself who became a scientist. Sometimes you feel flooded with compassion, as if it is coming from a version of yourself who has become a healer. You include all of these features at the same time. You simply learn to access different aspects of your multidimensional being. Your future self has learned to see themselves not as a static identity, but as a dynamic expression of unlimited possibility. They've recognized that consciousness is infinitely creative, and that they can tap into any quality, capacity, or wisdom that exists within the field of potential. This does not imply that they have become someone else. It indicates they recognized that they were never constrained to the narrow story they used to tell about themselves. This remembrance is available to you right now, not as something you must acquire or earn, but as something you may simply choose to use. Every moment provides an opportunity to become a more extended version of yourself. Every decision point serves as a gateway to a more advanced timeline. Every breath is an opportunity to connect more deeply with your boundless nature. However, accessing these higher elements of yourself necessitates what mystics refer to as beginner's mind, a willingness to face each moment fresh, free of the weight of past training or future assumptions. Your future self resides in this beginner's mind because they recognize that consciousness is constantly producing new possibilities. Now, they never presume they know how something will turn out because they are always prepared to be astonished by the unlimited creativity of existence. This openness to surprise, plot twists, and unexpected presents is essential for living on your highest timeline. Suppose you are fixated on how you believe your life should go. In that case, you will miss the magic that is attempting to emerge through spontaneous possibilities and synchronistic interactions. Your future self has learned to carry their vision gently. They are clear about the emotion they want to convey, yet they are open to many ways of expressing that emotion in form. They discovered that the universe is infinitely more creative than the human mind. When you try to predict how your dreams will emerge, you limit the endless ways they can surprise and thrill you. However, if you focus on the essence of what you want, the feeling, energy, or experience, and then remain open to how that essence wishes to present itself, you allow for manifestations that are beyond your wildest dreams. This is why your future self isn't concerned about how. They realize that their role is to explain what and why, what they want to experience, and why it is essential to them, and then trust the universe's intellect to choreograph the how in ways that benefit their highest good and the highest good of everyone. This trust is not passive. It is actively engaged in co-creation with the universe. It entails responding fully to opportunities as they arise, taking inspired action when direction appears, and maintaining its frequency. Even when external conditions do not yet match interior harmony, your future self has learned to be patient with time while being urgent with frequency. And when you start to absorb more of your future self's energy, you will notice that the concept of the future begins to disappear. You learn that what you thought was a future version of yourself is really a more integrated version of who you are now. Wisdom, love, clarity, and power. Everything you need is already inside you. Your journey does not involve becoming someone new. It's about discovering who you have always been. That person is not a future prospect. That person is a present reality, living in the quantum field of all possibilities. And every decision you make either brings you closer or takes you away from that reality. The power is always in your hands. The option is always available at this moment. Before we conclude, I'd like you to do something significant in the comments section. I'd like you to say one word that describes the energy you're choosing to embody moving forward. Just one word that expresses your determination to live from your finest self. Maybe it's about faith, alignment, boldness, or flow. Whatever word occurs to you first, please acknowledge it by posting it in the comments. This is not simply about sharing your ideas. This creates an energy signature for the quantum field. This declares to your future self that you have received the transmission and are ready to embody it. The more of us who make this deliberate decision, the more stable the field becomes for everyone. And if this conversation has struck something deep within you, if you recognize the truth in these words, I ask you to subscribe, not only to stay connected to new content, but also to stay aligned with yourself. Becoming.
Subscribe as a sign of dedication to your ultimate progress. Every person who chooses to recall their actual nature has a far-reaching impact on the lives of others. Your change becomes a gift for the world. Your waking serves to awaken others.
Your boldness in embodying your most whole self allows others to do the same. Consider watching this transmission on a daily basis, preferably in the morning, to reset your frequency before beginning your day.
And if someone in your life might benefit from recognizing their own quantum nature, please share this with them.
When you share consciousness-expanding knowledge, you create an energy ripple that not only benefits them, but also amplifies your own understanding, causing synchronicities and speeding up your manifesting process via the field of collective awareness. Your future self is so proud of you for being here, for listening, and for being open to the possibility that there is another way to live. They recall this specific moment as the start of things changing. They recall when you realized you didn't need permission from others to be who you are. The transmission is complete. The message was delivered. Now it's up to you to embody and live it. To become living proof that transformation is not only possible, but necessary for those who choose it. Your future self is waiting in the quantum field, not impatiently, but with limitless love and absolute certainty that you will find your way back to who you truly are. The only remaining question is whether you will take the call. Right now. As you begin to embody this quantum identity, you must first understand why most people struggle with manifestation, even when they are aware of the principles. The observer voice within you, which narrates your world, either reinforces or broadcasts your independence. Discover how to transform this internal dialogue from unconscious programming to conscious creation. Because what you say to yourself determines what you see in your surroundings.